Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the TFC YouTube channel, where today we will be going over and assessing Manchester City's options for their future striker. I'm here as always with Mr. Jazz11. Jack, welcome back to, my show, the Football Chat. And as I said, we already know what we're discussing today. We might as well hop straight into it. Just for that quick reminder, please do hit the sub button if you haven't done so already. Leave a like, and without further ado, let's get into it. So, who do you want to start off with? There's obviously a lot of rumours going around with this. You've got the likes of Danny Ings on that list, which some people thought was a great idea. Some not so much. So who do you want to discuss first? There's obviously, as I said, Danny Ings. You've got Harry Kane on that list as well. They've got quite a few options.
Are we going to discuss? We could discuss replacements, or do you want to discuss Aguero first and then talk about replacements either?
Probably a good idea to discuss the main man himself, the man who is leaving Manchester City at the end of the season. Heartbreak for Manchester City fans who spent many years, and also, made one of the most iconic football moments. The Balotelli Aguero. It was truly iconic,
brilliant,
and no one, will never become old, and he will always be loved in Manchester City's hearts. But yeah, he is leaving at the end of the season on that note. So, I get your tissues out, get the sad music playing, the violins out as well. It's all coming out for Aguero.
Man City legends. But they're only legends.
He is a Manchester City legend, though, and it will be sad to see him go for City fans anyway. So Aguero, what do you think about Aguero? Just in general, Jack. Give me his opinions. What's he like? I know you've met him in real life many times, so go ahead.
Great guy.
Yeah.
There's probably about 3 clubs realistically that can sign Aguero. And that's probably Barcelona, Chelsea, and PSG.
Yeah, they're the main rumours, I imagine. They sound like they would. I think they're all clubs that he could go to. I would think that he would go abroad, but you never know.
Yeah, I think Chelsea's still a viable option. He quite likes living here in England, by the sounds of it. And, Chelsea could be looking for a striker if they don't get Erling Haaland, who we will come on to later.
Yes,
I think there's definitely a chance for him to come to Chelsea. He was going to join in about 2009 before, obviously, that deal was cancelled, and they joined City a year later. So I think there's still a chance that he could join Chelsea. I think that's probably second behind Barcelona.
Yeah, I think as you said, I think there's a chance. Barcelona, I think, is another good option for him, but there's a lot going on at Barcelona at the moment. Obviously with the likes of Lionel Messi, which coincidentally was actually rumoured to come to Manchester City during the transfer window last season. So it's kind of, it would be, I mean, I've seen there's a couple of Man City fans on Twitter, they're going, oh, well, I think there's a swap deal incoming. Would you see a swap deal really coming?
No, because Aguero is available on a free, so that would make no sense.
Yeah.
But I do think that if Aguero does join Barcelona, there is a chance then that Messi stays on to play with Aguero. We know they obviously get on well. They play together in the Argentina national team. They're quite close friends. So I think there is definitely a chance Aguero goes on to join Barcelona and Messi ends up staying.
Yes, I think it would. I think it would improve the chances of Messi staying in Barcelona. He's got friends there as well. And obviously he spent many years at Barcelona, but there's obviously a lot that this happened over the recent year and a half.
Only club, isn't it?
He's never played for anyone else except from that dodgy team he played when he was like 9.
He never played professionally, so it doesn't really count.
Yeah. So he's always played at Barcelona. It's not at the end of the day. I was gonna go and ask you a question about Messi, but it's not about Messi today. In fact, it's far from Messi. It's Aguero. And the likeliness of where he moves. And obviously the players that would come in to replace him. So, final thoughts on Aguero and the clubs that he could go to. Obviously, I'll put my 2 pence in, as the old saying goes as well. Once you've been through them.
Yeah, I think Barcelona's the obvious one. They don't have a very good first choice striker at the moment, and to see it and to the chances of him joining and then Messi staying is a really good prospect for Barcelona. After that, I'd say Chelsea. But that's based on where Erling Haaland goes. I think we'll come in onto him very
Mm.
soon. And PSG is probably the third option if Messi leaves and if Chelsea get Erling Haaland.
Yeah. I think I can see him going to any of the clubs. It's quite hard to tell because he spent so many years in Manchester City. It's gonna be weird to see him go anywhere, isn't it? It's gonna be weird seeing him in another
Yeah,
shirt. I mean, he's been there for so many years. To not see him in that famous blue shirt, light blue shirt, I think it's going to be weird, and it's going to be hard to predict. He could go to literally any club. I've heard hashtag United are actually in the running.
so
Spencer
even
Owens on the
got
phone.
a 0.1% chance he goes hashtag. Not even that.
And obviously, we're not just saying that these three clubs could, it's not like nailed on that he has to go to one of these three clubs. It's just the most likely. You never know. He could
He could be
move to other
somewhere
clubs.
else. We know
You know.
he's leaving though. That's what's
Yes.
guaranteed.
Yes.
Inter Milan, that could be a destination if Lukaku goes somewhere like Chelsea, someone like that.
Yeah.
Maybe go back to Argentina. But yeah, there's not many clubs for him, but there are still a few out there.
Yeah, I think there are. Yeah, as you said, there is certainly people in the market for him, and clubs that he could go to that he would really improve. So you never know, but it's hard to tell. It's hard to predict. As I
I
said,
think though it is a bit soon to go back to Argentina. I think he's still got enough to give to a
yeah,
big European
I
side
don't think
before
you should go.
returning
I
home.
don't think you should go over to China or to America or to Argentina, as you said. I don't think it's time
Depends how much
quite
they're
yet.
offering.
Because he is still putting in performances for Manchester City, and if he was to go to another club,
Well, he's
I
been
think
plagued by injuries, but yeah.
yeah, like when he does play, which it might have been a while ago, but when he does play, he does still put in performances, and I think he could go to a top side and still put in performances and still start in some other sides. So I think you've
A
still
return
got
to Atleti, that would be really
yeah.
nice. Like imagine him and Suarez up front and Joao Felix
Yeah, you got
behind.
Joao
That would be
Felix in
really good.
there. I think
And I
there's
could see Joao Felix going to City. We'll bring him up soon as well.
yeah, I think there's a lot of rumors for people to replace Aguero. There's a big market of strikers out there. You'd even got Glenn Murray in the running. Anyway, he's just quick disclaimer: he's not in the running. He's far from in the running. He's not
Definitely
quite
not.
that standard of Manchester City. Quite, yeah. I'm sure he's a young prospect. He'll get there. But yeah, I think he's Aguero could go to any club, but there are ones that you could see him going to more than others. I think, as I said, I think he's still got
Yeah.
a few years, maybe a few years left in him before he wants to be going going over to the smaller clubs and spending his final years there. So, how old is he? I can't remember how old he is.
Uh, might be 32, 33. He's not
Yeah,
He's not like 36 or something.
yeah. You never know. He could pull
If
a
he was, then
Zlatan
I'd be saying maybe
Ibrahimovic.
go back to River Plate. But
Yeah, I
yeah,
think I think he's still definitely got a couple more years left in him at top level. With the
yeah.
likes in
And
the
then like
top
Europe.
leagues. Yeah. But yeah, so that's just the discussion on Aguero, but that's really the smaller matter, I guess you could say. Obviously, it's a big thing Aguero leaving and where he goes, but there's a big talk at the moment of who's going to come in to replace Aguero. Aguero's had that position for so many years, they've never had to really think about it, but now all of a sudden they have to think of a new striker. Well, logistically, I think that's something we can debate. Do they have to look for a new striker? But I think many would say they
Yeah, I
do.
mean that's the first thing. Guardiola did say we don't have the money to go and get a new striker, and they do have Jesus, who at
Hmm.
his age should be ready to be starting for Manchester City. And we've also seen that with Aguero out this season, they've been able to put people like Sterling up front. At one point, they just didn't play with a striker.
Yeah.
So there's definitely options, and I don't think they do have to get a striker, especially
Hmm.
with the
I think
pandemic. They
it's.
haven't got as much money as they would like. So
Hmm.
I
I
think
think
I think there's a chance that they don't.
the market has changed quite a lot to do with the because of the pandemic. Obviously, people can't spend as much, but also the general worth of players have probably gone down a little bit because nobody can afford so much. I can't remember what I was. I can't. I had a good point in my head, which this doesn't happen often. I don't have a good point in my head normally, but I can't remember what it is. Which is extremely unfortunate. But I did have a good point. So yeah. I just need to think. Just go and waffle while I think of my point.
Okay,
Hmm,
couple options. Erling Haaland, he's definitely in there. Very good, obviously. We all know Erling Haaland. We all know how good he is.
yeah.
But there are a lot of clubs that are going to want him, and he's going to cost a lot of money. Joao Felix, he's got to be in the running. Very talented and quite underrated, I think. Especially, I think the price tag that Atleti pay for him mean that people think he's not as good as he actually is. Have you come up with your point yet?
No, no, I think it's gone, Jack. It's entirely gone. But yeah, I think there's debate with Gabriel Jesus. I think he could start, and obviously, yeah, this is what I was gonna say. Isn't even that great of a point. I've built it up to be this massive pit thing, and you're just gonna be, oh, well, that was a bit pointless. But yeah, I think there's kind of the whole thing that Manchester City and football fans in general has been told by the main press that it's almost like Man City are definitely 100% gonna sign a striker. Whereas logistically, they might not, and they
Hmm.
have for this season. As you said, Aguero's been out for injuries quite a lot. They could play with no striker. They could play with Sterling up front. Gabriel Jesus could start.
De
So it's
Bruyne,
very
he
much
could do a
been
job.
yeah, it's Edison. I'm sure he could go great as striker. But I reckon, but I genuinely think this kind of been drilled into football fans and Man City fans' heads that they kind of have to get this striker that has to be at the top level. With the likes of, as I said, Kane, not Sterling, Kane,
Well,
Haaland.
Jesus isn't proven yet, really. Like he's
Yeah.
there, but he's never really proven it that he is of that level because he's always been in Aguero's shadow. He's never started a good 38 games in a row or something silly like just played a full season of football. He always has 10, 20 games a season, sometimes less. He's
Mm,
had problems with injuries as well, so I mean, I think they should give him a year to prove himself. But I think based on City and what they do with kind of just going out and spending big, they will probably
yeah.
replace him with someone like Haaland, Kane, Felix, even
Yeah.
Lewandowski. I haven't seen it linked, but that Pep Guardiola link, I think that is a possibility.
Yeah, the Pep Guardiola link, that could happen. I think there's a lot of options. I think any big striker will be linked with them. And I've seen a lot also recently with people claiming that the big reporters, even like Sky Sports, they could be making up these rumors. For all we know, Lewandowski could actually be a big option.
Yeah.
And I think it's hard to tell, especially with as you said the money factor. Who are they going to sign? They could sign nobody. They could go out and spend big money on someone like Erling Haaland. The only worry there would be, or we know that these players can play extremely well, but a lot of players can go to another league and they can really struggle with the language barrier, with the change in just totally different football. In English football, they say it's a lot more physical than other leagues. So it's kind of like, if we go on
I do
Erling
think
Haaland, for
I think
example.
Haaland is quite safe with that because
Yeah.
if you watch him play, you notice that he is very strong, very quick, very
Mm,
agile. He's basically the best. He will be him and Mbappe, the best players. It like come 5, 10 years, they will be the Messi and Ronaldo. And
mm,
I guess though, like Haaland, well, if you're talking about people failing in England. To look at Timo Werner, he very much relies
yeah.
on poor defending, which in the Bundesliga is quite common. And when he's come to Chelsea, he has struggled against the more physical defence. So I don't think Haaland would have those same
Yeah, I
problems, though.
think it's a slightly
I get your
I
point.
I think he's a slightly safer option, but obviously a more expensive option than other strikers. But I
Very
think
expensive.
he is a safer option with the way that he plays. I think he would match by the looks of what we've seen so far from Haaland. He would fit the Premier League style of play probably the most out of these people that we're going to discuss.
Well,
Um
other than obviously the players that already play in the Premier
oh
League.
yeah, yeah.
But I would say that in Haaland, though they have a big cost, they do guarantee themselves a world class striker for 10, 15 years. And
Yeah, and
that's
also he
pretty
could,
good.
if they can get him for a decent price. Obviously, they're probably just going to set a price tag and go with it. But
Well, at the moment they're saying like 180,
yeah,
which is just mental. And the
yeah.
wages, Raiola and Haaland's dad both want 20 mil each, which is
Hmm.
crazy.
I think I mean you look at someone like Neymar. I mean he went for more than that 180. You never know. Man City could actually make profit off
Yeah,
him in the years to come, which sounds mental for
definitely.
180
With
million, but they
inflation
could.
in football, with
Yeah,
how much
100%.
players are
With
going
the
for, it's
more
always exceeding. Obviously, once we're
money's
out of the
being pumped
pandemic,
in.
I think there's going to be a lot. Like it's only going to go up. You're not going to see it suddenly drop because of the pandemic. We've seen it kind of freeze, go down a bit, but I think it will keep on its upward trajectory after this period.
Many would say, and I'm not saying necessarily I agree with this, but many would say there's got to be a cap at some point of where it'd go. But I don't think it's fully reached that cap yet. I think there's still a lot more
I
money
don't
that
know
can
if
be
there
pumped
is
in.
a cap though. I like it. Like money will keep going exponentially with the population climb and all that. I don't
Hmm.
see that football will hit a point where the money just
But
stops, and that is
with the
how much everyone's
extreme
worth.
growth in the last 20 years, if we let's say I don't know what it would be, but in the last like 10, 15 years, how much it's grown. If that was, let's say it's times 10, which it probably isn't, but let's say it's
A
grown
lot more
10
than that.
times. Yeah, this is what I mean, yeah. So it's probably isn't, but let's say even 10 times. If it was to grow in the next 10, 15 years 10 times more, that is an extreme amount of money. And while it
Yeah.
could still happen, and I think it could get to that point and even higher up, but many would say that there is kind of a cap, but with we're kind of getting into a discussion with that of just general economics in the world
Yeah,
and
it's
the
to do
way
with
that money will
population
grow.
growth, but in fear of getting too boring with this
Yes,
chat,
yeah.
let's take it back to
Yeah,
will
this is
Harry
not the
Kane join or
economics
not?
chat. It's the football
Yeah.
chat. Back to the football. Who are Manchester City linked with for this massive, massive transfer?
Well, I mean, we've already gone through a few of them, but
Yeah,
I think the player I think
yeah,
will join Man City is Harry Kane,
yeah. I think
especially after the Euros. Say England win it, Tottenham are going to want to cash. Well, they might want to cash in on Harry Kane. He's going
mm,
to be worth a hell of a lot, especially if they've won the Euros, because Kane will be looking at that going, at Tottenham, I don't think I'm going to win anything. At City, I've got a very good chance of winning stuff. If
I
Kane wants
think
to win trophies, he will go to Manchester City. If he wants to win individual accolades, he'll stay at Tottenham.
I think with the whole trophies thing, at this point, because we see Jose Mourinho come in and we think he's a world-renowned winner. He's won so many trophies. There's no way he
Yeah,
can't. But now you look at the position that he's in. I think he's going to lose the dressing room if he hasn't done so already. If he hasn't already lost the dressing room, he's losing it very soon.
yeah.
The odds of him actually winning a trophy with Spurs are very slim now because I think he will get
I think the
sacked.
Carabao Cup final. I think
Yes.
the Carabao Cup final
Yeah.
is a massive game.
And
If they
also,
lose that, Kane is probably guaranteed leaving.
yes, I think if we can somehow pull a world in, all of a sudden wipe all our bad performances out of the window, then I think we could, I think, trophy under the belt, and I could see
I'd say
Kane possibly
I think
staying.
even then Kane will probably leave, but I don't see
I don't,
anywhere else he goes. Like yes, Manchester
if
United
he can see a,
maybe.
if he can see
I
a
think
future at
City's the
Tottenham,
most likely though.
if things change during this summer, so let's say, as you said, let's say we do win the Carabao Cup, which the odds, I mean, look at our recent performances, are very low, but let's say it does happen, and things change over the summer, and he can see a genuine future at Spurs, then he will stay. But it's not necessarily just to do with the trophies, large proportion is to do with the trophies, but it's not just to do with the trophies, it's kind of
Yeah,
like, if he can see this Spurs side, if they don't get rid of Jose Mourinho, if things don't change, then he'll go, Jesus Christ, look at this, what's going on? I'm leaving before my career is totally ruined
yeah.
because this team. But if things do change and things do improve, and he can see a genuine future, then he could stay for the foreseeable future. But it's hard to predict
I
at this
think I
point.
think that could be a I think that could be a whole nother video where we discuss how
Yeah,
to fix Tottenham. I think there are some very obvious flaws in that side,
yeah,
such as the manager, for example, could be something that maybe should be changed. So I think we could do a video discussing all of that.
yeah. I
Right
think
now,
there's
Kane
a
to
big it's a big
City, I'm
debate.
thinking definitely. I mean, not definitely, but I think it's definitely a viable option for both
Yes.
sides,
Have
for
we? I
both
think we've been
player
through
and
decent amount. Any other really obvious offers or transfers that have a high chance of happening or that are rumored to happen.
Austin. Danny Ings has been linked. That is interesting, but equally,
I
is he
don't.
good enough? I think
He's
he deserves
underrated.
another chance at a big club.
Yeah.
But what I would say is if Kane goes City, that is a good option for Danny Ings to go into that Tottenham role, because if Kane leaves, Tottenham are going to have to replace him. They can't just go, Carlos
Hmm.
Vinicius gone, up front you go. So I think
No,
Danny
yeah,
Ings,
yeah.
for probably half the price, half the money they'd get for Harry Kane, would be great business for Tottenham. And I think Ings deserves a spot up there. And
And
I
oh
think
yeah.
Southampton would be happy with about 80 mil. So
And the one thing I would
I
say
think
with
it would be a
Kane, you
good job.
kind of get a 2-in-1 with Kane. He's a good playmaker. We've seen that especially this season. The passes he's almost the playmaker and also the main man up top. And that is the issue with one of the issues with the Tottenham side. I think he's kind of a playmaker and also he's trying to be two places at once at this Tottenham
Does
side.
everything though. That's the thing. Kane has to do that because no one else does.
Yeah, because we haven't necessarily got a playmaker. But anyway, yeah, we keep going back into the Tottenham side. So
Problems
I
at
think
Tottenham. So yeah, that can probably
The Danny Ings transfer, would he be any better than Gabriel Jesus, let's say? Would he be that much better to the point where it'd be worth making, putting
oh
in a high
yeah,
bid for
that
him?
is the argument. But then you do look at Jesus' injury record. But equally, Danny Ings, he also has a bit of problems with injuries. So I mean, it's a bit 50-50. If you look at the last 2 years, you're definitely going to say Danny Ings over Jesus, just because Jesus has been out with
Hmm.
so many injuries, hasn't got much playing time. But if you're looking to the future, you could make Gabriel Jesus your main striker for the next 10
Yeah.
years. It's a much more viable option over Ings, who's like 31 now. Whereas if Ings does go Tottenham could just push on for a trophy like the Carabao Cup for a year. So I think that's a better option for Ings, and I don't think City is the option. It would be nice to see him get a chance like Manchester City, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I can't see certainly getting that main role to go out there for Ings and go and
Doesn't fit the
replace
mold.
Aguero is just I
Doesn't
don't
look like a
think
City
it's
player. When you
mm,
look at City players, you think flashy Portuguese style, and then you've got this big bullish
flashy
English striker,
Portuguese
Danny
style.
Ings comes in. Yeah, well, no, but you do, don't you? You got nice Spanish flowing football from Guardiola,
Hmm.
and I don't think Danny Ings really fits that style.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he would be the best option. I don't think he'd be a replacement of Aguero because he's a totally different player to what Aguero is. I would say
Kane is
anyway.
much more similar, and I think Kane, if he wants, I think if England, that would be England's best chance to win the Euros, is if Kane goes to City, works the manager like Guardiola for a year, and then goes into the Euros. That would be really really good for him, and I think England would stand a better chance of winning with a Guardiola coached Harry Kane. So
Would you say that? I think with the things he's improved under Pochettino when he was at the club. He improved
oh yeah,
massively. Have we seen that big of an improvement under Mourinho? We've seen the playmaker side come out a bit more, but I think that's only because there has been no playmaker in the squad. So he's kind of been forced into that position.
yeah.
I think with Mourinho, we've kind of
Mourinho's
seen a
little step up, and I think
yeah.
Harry Kane is now at world class. But with Guardiola, he has that ability just to take him up another
Hmm.
level, like he has with Raheem Sterling. You look at
I
Sterling
think
back in the Liverpool
it
days; he was
for
just a
for
runner and winger, but now
Kane's
he's much
career,
better at finishing.
it goes back with Kane's career. It goes back to can he see a future at Tottenham? Things have to change if he wants to see a future at Tottenham, and that is probably including the
It's like
manager.
a big summer, put it
But
that
yeah,
way.
I think that's mostly what we want to go over. We've been recording for a while now. So, is there any
Yeah.
final things you want to go through to do with this whole Aguero thing, whether that's Aguero himself or the replacements or Manchester City as a club and how they're going to be affected by the whole thing? Because that is it's a big change. He's been there for so
Yeah.
many years and so many well, not generations, but there's so many players that have been there with that level and have now retired or left the club. He's kind of seen a whole generation of the team, and that doesn't mean like
Like
70
company,
years, but it's like
Fernandinho,
yeah,
Yaya
that's what I
Toure,
mean by it.
Aguero, that kind of generation is
Yeah, he's
now all
seen
fading out into this new
yeah,
Guardiola generation. So yeah, I mean, obviously he's a fantastic player who's been a long time serving the club. I think he probably deserves a statue there. I don't
yeah.
think
I
that's
think that's
unrealistic
fair
to
enough. I
suggest
think
that.
that is. I don't think it's unrealistic either. I think that is a fair enough option. I think I think giving him a statue, he's part of that era that you've seen the Man City climb up so much. recently, and I don't mean in the last few months, but you get what I mean, over the last years, we've seen them grow so much, and you think of the Balotelli Aguero moment, you think of so many other moments that Aguero's been in that team, and he is a legend of the club, as we said very very early on in this episode. He's a legend of the club, and I think a statue for him would not be ridiculous, or it
And he
wouldn't be out of
took that
place.
gamble back in 2010 when Sheikh Mansour bought the club. I don't think many players would go to a team that just finished like 10th or something and were nowhere near the top. But Aguero took that risk, and it's paid off massively for him. So
yeah, it's made his career. Not saying that if he didn't move to Man City, he wouldn't have made his career, but he is now seen as.
He probably would have gone Chelsea. I mean, it would have been better, but
No, I genuinely do think he's kind of grown with the club into this massive, legend of the club, and I think every single fan respects that man, and I think he's a big legend, and he will be missed at the club. But as you said, it's a new era. There's players like Yaya Toure have already left, Company already left, David Silva even already left. I think it's a whole new era, and I think it's one of the final people left of that past era, and it's exciting. If you put it like that to a Man City fan, I think they are sad to see him go, but it's exciting to see. If you were to get like an Erling Haaland in there, you've got young prospects. You really are improving.
I don't think anyone's going to be complaining.
Yeah.
No one's going, oh, we've got rid of Aguero. Oh, damn, we've got Erling Haaland.
Oh, you're joking me. One of the world's best young superstars. What an outrage. They will be punching their walls. Their TVs will be out the window. But yeah, on a serious note, I think that's everything we need to go through today. And I think that is...
I think one more thing on Aguero.
Oh, yeah.
One of the reasons that I think he'll stay in Europe is the fact he doesn't have a Champions League yet. And I think he will definitely want one in the future.
That's one thing he does want.
City have never won it, which is quite shocking.
Yeah, that is...
And I think his best chance could be Chelsea. Chelsea could be his best chance for that. And I'm not bullshitting you. If you look at that Chelsea squad now, especially if they can get Haaland, I think there's a good chance.
I think if he went to Aguero, I don't think they'd get Haaland. I don't think you'd get Aguero and Haaland.
If
I know you
and Tammy were to leave, it's not unrealistic. I do agree with you.
I know Abramovich is a madman and he has a lot of money, but whether he would quite go for that. And Werner would. Werner's already in the bin, but poor Werner, it'd be out of the equation, mate. You got Aguero, you've got Haaland, you've even got like Tammy Abrahams. Probably, I'd start over Werner at the moment. So, if Werner really would be a reserve player,
if Aguero comes, if anyone comes, Tammy goes.
Yeah,
that's kind of feeling. That's why I think it's not unrealistic to think that Chelsea could get Haaland. One, because Abramovich is a madman. He will put the money on the table to get what he wants. No, but anyone else is going to go, I'm not going to give you 20 million a year. And then Haaland, and then Abramovich will go, yeah, sure, why not? Just
he has a lot of money. I think that's a whole video in itself as well, the whole Abramovich thing. Some people love him, some people hate him, the way that he's coming with so much money. But I think that is a new generation of football. There is just so much money in the game. And even if I think Abramovich did kind of turn a page and start a new era of the money, but I think it was destined to happen anyway. With the money, it was already going up. It was destined to kind of go into that new era of extreme money in football. And I think that is going to be interesting. I think it goes back to the whole economic thing, which we were waffling on about earlier. I think money in football is going to change so much, and I think the big teams do need to get new owners if their owners don't have extreme amounts of money. Otherwise, teams like Chelsea with Abramovich and teams like Manchester City with who've they got the wheel again? Donny from I can't remember. Yeah, him. People with extreme money will probably run away with it because let's face it, football's pay to win. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for tuning into another TFC videos. Massively appreciate it. Please do leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. It'd really help out the channel and push out this video. And who wouldn't want to hear the economics chat? Everyone's a big fan. Jeff Bezos is getting involved with the economics chat. It's popping off. I like our
Easy.
last video, we
Coming
were
soon.
off and on about the hockey chat, and now we're off and on about the economics chat. Don't think the football chat's the right way to go. I think the economics and hockey chat,
We just
it's
start all
upcoming.
these other channels.
Yeah.
We've got TFC
But on
in
that
front
note,
and centre.
ladies and gentlemen, I've been Kieran, otherwise known as GM19. You should subscribe to GM19. He's a great YouTuber, really good-looking man. But on a serious note, though, thank you guys for watching today's video. It's massively appreciated, and we will see you when we can be asked to record again. Goodbye.